Hello everybody. In today's screencast we're going to be looking at writing and defining terms. Often when we read we're looking for and paying attention to definitions of terms. So when we write there are many reasons that we need to also define the terms that we use in our writing. So how do we do that? Why do we do that? Well, first of all, why do we need to define terms? Well, most importantly, the meaning of a term must be clear to the reader. If the reader doesn't understand the term, then whatever you're writing about is not going to be clear. Sometimes terms can have more than one meaning. For example, sometimes a term has what we call a general meaning and a discipline-specific meaning. So if we take, for example, the word bus, okay, and generally it means a large motor vehicle designed to carry passengers, usually along a fixed route, according to a schedule. We all, we take a bus all the time. We're all familiar what a bus is. However, in engineering, it has a very special meaning. It refers to the data path that connects a number of devices, so that when the reader comes across the word bus, it depends again on the context. Is it a general context, talking about traveling in a city? Or is it in the context of transportation? Or is it in a more engineering, computer context where this may be the meaning? So we want to pay attention to the context and make sure that the reader understands which meaning we're using in our writing. And it's also sometimes a term may have more than one meaning even in a discipline-specific context. There may be two or three, and they may be slightly different. And it's very, very important that the reader understands how you're using the term. So what do? Well, the first thing we want to do is consider, we've got our term. What do we have to take into consideration? Well, first of all, are there synonyms? Okay, sometimes a synonym will help the reader understand the situation. For example, physician. Synonyms are doctor, surgeon, healer. Each is a little bit different. We know what a surgeon does. A healer may be more with complementary or alternative medicine. So doctor and physician would be synonymous if we're in a very traditional medical context, such as this sentence. The physician, a doctor, sent the patient for a blood test. Another thing that we have to pay attention to is the category. Where does it fit in? For example, a doctor or a physician is in the category of medicine. If we took a marshmallow, its category would be a kind of sugar, sweet, or candy. So that puts it in a whole different area. We have to also take into consideration what we call distinguishing features or characteristics. What makes a marshmallow a marshmallow? Well, it's sticky and gooey, and it's very, very sweet, and it's white, and it's round with a flat top and a bottom. And finally, we might want to look for an illustration or a picture that will help our reader understand what exactly we're talking about. So how do we do it? How do we organize the information of what we call a defining term? In a paragraph format, well, like any paragraph, we always stop with the topic sentence, and it's the main idea of the definition. Basically, it's a statement or a sentence that says, a marshmallow is, a doctor is, and explains what it is. But in a paragraph that's giving information and explaining exactly what that term is, it needs more information. So we put in examples with an explanation, 1, 2, 3 ideas. Sometimes two ideas are enough. And then we finish that paragraph with a conclusion, which can be a restatement of the definition and or an explanation of why this particular definition was chosen. Sometimes, and that's especially true when we have 2 or 3 definitions which are very, very similar in meaning. So, when you go back, think first of all, how do I define it? What is there that's going to help me explain and illustrate what that term is? And finish my paragraph with a restatement or an explanation.